2026 meeting of the Syracuse Board of Review. This hearing is being held via video conference call on WebEx at the following location: Hughes State Office Building, main hearing room, first floor, 333 East Washington Street, Syracuse, New York, 13202. Time now is officially 9:33 a.m. and this hearing is officially open. The members of the board are to my left, Gail Swistek, to my right, Scott Beverly, remotely, Andrew Garlock. My name is C. Thomas Parsons. I'm the acting chairman. From the Department of State is Hendrik Shank and Tom DiTullio. Before we get started with the hearing, we are adding an item to the agenda, and that is an administrative matter. Each year, members of the Syracuse Board of Review are required per Title 19 NYCRR Part 1205.2 to choose a chairperson, from among its members. Does a member of the board, I, as a member of the board, would like to nominate Andrew Garlock as chairman of the Syracuse Board of Review. Do I have a second?
I second.
We have a second. We have a motion and a second. First, I need to confirm, Mr. Garlock, are you willing to accept the nomination?
I am.
Very good. With that said, I'll open up the vote for the board. Ms. Swistek, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Beverly, how do you vote? Aye. Mr. Garlock, how do you vote?
Aye.
And the chair votes ayes, 4 ayes, no nays. Mr. Garlock has been elected as chairperson, of the Syracuse Board of Review. And I formally turn over the chair role to Mr. Garlock.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Parsons. I will continue on with the hearing. We will now hear the scheduled petitions. When you speak, please address the board and give your name, title, and legal address so that our court reporter can have all the information requested. We may have to stop from time to consult with our technical staff. In making comments to the board, please provide a descriptive narrative on matters referring to your exhibits to enable the court reporter to enter these into the record. Our first hearing is petition number 2026-0012. This hearing is in the matter of Jonathan Gonzalez. Do we have the applicant here to present their case?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I actually need to pause this for just a second. I'm having one technical issue. I just need to stop something and double check. I apologize for the interruption.
Okay.
Do you want us to go off the record?
Yeah.
We go off the record?
Okay, we have the applicant here. Jonathan?
All right. Good morning, everyone. Yes, I am requesting that the board approve a variance for a request ultimately to install a ladder in my basement bedroom window to allow for egress. And this is born out of an application for a special permit to do short-term rentals at my property, where it was found that the window is about 5 inches off from current code in terms of height from the floor. And so that 5-inch discrepancy has initially led to guidance to install a window well. Seeing that a window well would be incredibly invasive and really change the grading of the property and introduce water concerns, what I did was apply for an administrative variance and got it for a concrete step. And in hiring a contractor to come sort of scope the job, he really let me know that the step would be a great tripping hazard, just based on how the bedroom needs to be laid out and where closets are and just where a bed would naturally fit and only fit, and the required size of this step. it would be inevitable that it would be a tripping hazard, and ultimately my guests would end up tripping on it. And so what I'm requesting is that the board fully consider and allow for a, s- a stair that would go along, or a ladder, excuse me, that would go along that wall where the step would be, to avoid the tripping hazard and ultimately make the room safe, and I think really still comply with the spirit of the guidance and the code, which calls for proper egress. And just really want to end on underscoring that the difference here that we're ultimately solving for is about 5 inches of ultimately too much height from the floor. And so that is, and there are photos in my exhibits. Happy to address those, but that is what I'm here for.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gonzalez.
Sure.
Just a couple quick questions that I have, and then I'll hold the board for questions. It appears to be an awning window that's in the bedroom that has a crank and it cranks up. It appears that by cranking the window, it doesn't fully open by the crank itself.
Yeah.
That you actually need to force the window up into a 90-degree position. And there is a photo that has been provided of that window in that position. How far does the window crank out to what, an estimated angle?
Yeah.
What type of force is needed to push the window up?
Sure. As it stands, that window cranks to about 45 degrees. It could reach 90 degrees, but what I have decided and what I will do is replace that window altogether and make sure that it opens fully. So I don't know the language for it, but it'll be one of those windows that opens to the side as opposed to a crank window.
Okay, you're, I think, referring to a casement window that would crank from the side,
It's
yes, from the side.
Yes, a casement window. Yeah.
One other thing, I know you've talked about a window well. I don't think a window well is, without making the window larger, it really doesn't provide you anything because the bottom of the window is already above the adjacent grade. Are you proposing, just a question about the ladder, are you proposing a fixed ladder or a movable ladder?
It would absolutely be a fixed ladder, based on personal preference, based on what I understand would be acceptable per, any guidance from the board, but it would absolutely be a fixed ladder on the wall that could not be taken down.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
This is for short-term rentals or a permanent rental? What's this, what would it be used for?
Short term. Yeah, so this is it's in the Cooperstown area, so we get baseball folks, and I want to so short-term rentals.
Okay, I will just say, after looking at the pictures and looking at the proposal, personally, I can't support a variance for this. I'm not sure the administrative process by which you got the variance for this window, but I don't agree and I can't support a variance.
Okay, do we have any other questions from the board members?
I think you mentioned this, but you do not have the ladder picked out yet, and it would be permanently affixed to the wall. Is that correct?
Yes, don't have it picked out yet. Ultimately, would likely end up building a custom ladder for that window, and would make sure that it follows any specifications that the board calls for.
What size is the window you were thinking of putting in there?
It would be the same dimensions, so it would be 47 inches by 47 wide. Excuse me, I can find the.
But it would be a slider,
Yes.
so it would cut the opening in half.
Yes, and I've seen some options where it could it would be more than half that the opening would be. That said, I want to name that whatever that window's opening is, it would still be larger than what the code allows for and has no problem with in any of the other windows in the home. So it would not introduce a scenario where that opening is smaller than any other window opening throughout the property.
Thank you.
Sure.
What's the estimated cost to put the window well in?
The rough numbers I've gotten started at about $2,000.
Okay.
Yeah, the cost sure is an important factor. I want to name that this home is on a graded property with a river and a lake behind it. And so when it rains, and as rain patterns have changed over the years, with increasing rain, what we're seeing is a lot more in this area, and it's not just my property, a lot more puddles forming, particularly in front of the property. So water management has become a serious issue that a window well would likely exacerbate over time.
Okay, having seen properly installed window wells, properly water sealed, properly protected from exactly what you're describing, I don't see that as a difference than the current situation you have. We're not disputing about you got an administrative relief on the window well. I just don't agree with granting any more variances for this with the window. Also, looking at the space itself, it looks like there's a very narrow space between the bed and the wall, and there's a heater unit just below the window. And certainly, I think it's going to be difficult for somebody to be climbing up a wall ladder, because I'm sure you're going to keep it very close to the wall because you don't have a lot of space between the bed and that ladder. So I'm concerned even the functionality to it. I come from this as a position after my adjacent county within 20 minutes, or excuse me, 15 minutes, my house. We've had 5 people die in residential home fires at grade. You're proposing a rental, and which means that you have revenue coming in. This is not like your home. This is not like you have a family member that you're trying to provide for, but you're actually having people of which you're able to recoup your costs. So I'm reluctant to give a variance on this because of I believe this can be done the right way and properly.
And what would be the right and proper way?
To put a window well in and install a properly sized and operable window.
Okay, so then help me understand, if I may.
You stated the cost was $2,000, so that's why I'm.
Totally, I did. And the administrative approval allows for a 5-inch step. And one of the concerns over approving a ladder is that it would make it functionally difficult to leverage the window as egress, as I understand it. So yes.
I'm 67 years old. I would have difficulty, fairly tall, fairly large man. I would have difficulty climbing up a ladder and escaping out that window if I was renting from you and there was a fire that I could not escape the normal means. That's the position I'm coming from.
Right. What I'm asking at this point is, how is it then that a step is allowed for through administrative approval, but a ladder is of concern, if they ultimately would both follow that same argument of being difficult to use? So I guess what I'm asking the board to consider is, if a step is allowed, I would argue a ladder should be allowed as well, because a ladder is easier to use.
Well, this is Hendrik Shank from the Department of State. So when we made the determination to do an administrative variance for the concrete step, it was because we had the understanding that a concrete step could be considered a finished floor, which would give you the height that you need for a compliant emergency escape and rescue opening under the provisions of Title IX.
Thanks, Hendrik.
Also point out, Mr. Gonzalez, that administrative variances aren't completed through this board. So our review of your case in front of us is, we're looking at the case in front of us in particular. We didn't have any bearing or impact on the administrative case.
Got it.
Any other questions from board members?
Is there any, we can't see, based on the exhibits that were provided, we can't see the full room. Is there any ability to install, in lieu of a ladder, steps within that space, even if they're at a steep incline to get to that window? Or is there insufficient space within there?
I'm sorry, I want to make sure I'm following the question. The question is there room inside of that bedroom for a less steep set of stairs? Is that right? Or ladder?
What you had proposed was a vertical ladder attached to the wall, correct?
Yes.
Right. Is there any, so there's code allowances in certain circumstances, not this particular one, for steps, or a step ladder essentially. Is there any room for that to be installed, or no? Essentially it would extend horizontally into the room.
Yeah, it would extend into the middle where the only space for the bed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right. Any other questions before we go into deliberation? Okay. We are going to go into a brief recess to deliberate, and we'll be back into the meeting.
Okay. Thank you.
Off the record.
Thanks.
You're back on the record.
Okay. Regarding the petition, I'd like to make a motion with respect to the petition of Jonathan Gonzalez, petition number 2025-0600, upon the application of Jonathan Gonzalez filed pursuant to 19 NY CRR 1205 on August 13, 2025, and upon all other papers in this matter, the department makes the following determination. Petition pertains to an existing window in an existing detached one-family dwelling, 2 stories in height, type 5B wood frame, unprotected construction containing approximately 1,300 square feet of gross floor area, located at 252 Bob Wilson Road, Village of Milford, County of Otsego, State of New York. Relief is requested from 9 NYCRR section 714.1C, which states in part that the bottom of openings for emergency use shall be no higher than 4 feet 6 inches where required in basement or cellar. Petitioner requests relief to allow an existing basement bedroom's window to be an opening for emergency use. The board makes the following findings. 1, the existing building, basement bedroom, and window opening was constructed in 1991. 2, the existing window's opening is approximately 47 inches wide and 28 inches high. 3, the bottom of the window opening is approximately 59 inches above the finished floor and approximately 4 inches above exterior grade. 4, the existing window is hinged and opens fully to provide an unobstructed net clear opening greater than the minimum dimensions prescribed in 9 NY CRR section 714.1C. 5, the basement has a door that goes directly to the exterior and a stairway that goes to the first story. 6, the local code enforcement official has been consulted in this matter and has no objection to the granting of a routine variance under 19 NY CRR Part 1205. In accordance, and 7, the granting of this variance will substantially adversely affect the code's provisions for safety, health, and security of the public. In accordance with the above findings, the board finds that in the case before it, provisions for health, safety, and security will be adversely effective, and the proposed alternatives to compliance with the code do not ensure safety and public welfare. Therefore, I move that the above petition be denied. Furthermore, it should be noted that the decision of the board is limited to the specific building and application before it as contained within the petition and should not be interpreted to give implied approval of any general plans or specifications presented in support of this application. I so move.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a second. I'll poll the board. Ms. Swistak,
Aye.
Mr. Parsons,
Aye.
Mr. Beverly.
Aye.
The chair votes aye. 4 ayes, no nays. The petition is denied. We will now move on to our second hearing. Petition number 2025-0917. This hearing is in the matter of Forest Austin. We have the
Can you
applicant
take us
here.
off the record again very briefly? Another audio speaker. I apologize. Can we go off the record for a minute?
Mr. Austin, would you like to
Yes,
present
am I here?
the case?
Yeah, we have a technical problem. We have to go off the record for a moment.
Okay.
Heard.
Okay, we have Mr. Austin here to the applicant to present their case. Go ahead, Mr. Austin, when you're ready.
I'm just asking for a variance in regards to the cellar ceiling. There is just so many obstructions to the ceiling. The house was probably built.
Is it me? I
At a
can't
time.
hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Can hear you, yes.
Okay. The house was probably built, when it was built, it was maybe a cold water flat. And since then, through the cellar, I mean, there's all sorts of new plumbing over the years. There's gas pipes, the heat pipes, and everything was installed at or below rafters, and then would, go up between the rafters and then come back down. Gas company over the year has moved the gas lines. They used to come in the front of the building. Instead of digging and taking them around the side where they wanted the meters, they zigzagged them through the cellar to go out the side of the building to the meters and then come back in. It's just basically everywhere you walk, you need a hard hat so you don't bump your head. And to try to put any kind of sheetrock up, probably bigger than a 4x4 foot piece at a time is impossible in places. If you look at the pictures, there's just no way you can get it up to the rafters behind these pipes and the wiring, and it's an impossibility. There's a chimney that goes up through the center. The hot water, gas hot water vent pipes go up to the ceiling and slant to the chimney. I mean, just all this stuff to work around. As far as safety-wise, I have multiple smoke and heat detectors in the cellar and in the hallways of the building that are all interconnected. If there was ever a problem in the cellar, the whole building would be alerted. I have the fire door, self-closing fire door coming up out of the cellar. That whole stairway, wall, ceiling, everything is sheetrock with fire retardant sheetrock. I think there's pictures of that in there. It's just a total, bowl of spaghetti on the ceiling to try to put anything up there.
Okay, thank you. Do you have currently any type of storage or laundry facilities for
No,
the tenants
no.
in the basement?
No laundry facilities for them. Storage, no. It just, that leads to a problem of garbage buildup and stuff. The cellar's pretty clean.
Okay, and what type of equipment and appliances are down there for the utilities?
There is a gas hot water furnace for the second floor. There are 3 gas hot water tanks that vent into the chimney. The chimney comes down basically almost in the center of the building for chimney. They're piped into that, and the piping seal of concrete, and the furnace vents to that. The gas and electric meters are on the outside of the building. The circuit boxes are in the cellar. Other than that, there is an old porcelain type of sink. I don't know what it was at one time. It's no longer used. It's still hooked up, but it's not used. The water shut off to it. Other than that, there's no washer, dryer, any other appliances or anything like that down there, and kind of wood shop or temporary shop or anything like that for anybody to use. It's just the basic stuff.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Austin. Any other questions from the board members?
Mr. Parsons has a question. Mr. Austin, the stairs that go from the first floor to the second floor in the basement, can you see the bottom of those stairs?
From the first, no, you cannot.
Is there a floor below that underneath the stairs, or is it sheetrocked?
It's
underneath
sheet
those
rock.
stairs?
The cellar stairs do not go down to the cellar underneath the staircasing that goes to the second floor.
Yeah, I'm talking about that staircase that goes to the second floor.
Right.
Is there a separation between the bottom of those stairs and the basement?
Yes, there is. There's flooring there. You look up and it's just like the rest of the cellar ceiling.
Okay, so there's a flooring that goes across horizontally at the first floor level under the second floor stairs.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that room under the stairs used for storage or anything?
No.
Do you have is there access under those stairs?
No. It's walled off. That's what I'm saying. The stairs that go down to the cellar, there's no access to the stairs going up to the second floor.
Correct. I'm looking just the separation between the basement and those stairs going up to the second floor.
It's totally closed off.
Okay, but it's a wood floor or wood flooring that's between the basement and the area under the second floor stairs.
Correct. Just like the whole flooring for the whole first floor would be correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Parsons. Any other questions from the board members?
Mr. Austin, just to confirm, the exhibits that were submitted indicate that the door is self-closing. The exhibits, the photos provided don't have the closer. Is that the closer provided on the other side of the door?
The closers are of the hinge type.
Okay.
The hinges have the springs right in them. So where you see that the three hinges up the right-hand side, looking at it from the inside, those are the closers.
Okay.
How are the detectors interconnected? Are they wireless? Are they wired? Is there a fire alarm system that interconnects the detectors from the basement and the rest of the building?
They're hardwired all together, and then they're battery backup. So if one of them went off in the cellar, all the way up through front and rear hallways would go off. The heat detectors in the apartments would go off, because in like second and third floor, inside the entrance door where the kitchen is, there's a heat detector there on the ceiling to detect if there was a fire in the hallway. Well, say if the alarms went off in the cellar for any reason, all the alarms in the hallways and those those heat detectors in the apartments would go off. And the same if one, say in the hallway on the third floor way in the back went off, everything through the hallways in the cellar would also go off.
Do you have these detectors annually inspected and certified by a fire alarm contractor or an electrician?
No, when they do our city fire inspection, we're every 3 years. They look at all that.
But do you have a third party, even if it's every 3 years, do you have an electrician or fire alarm contractor that inspects these detectors?
No, as far as looking at the electrical part, no, the battery part of it, the battery backup, I do the change of the batteries.
Okay. In other variances similar to yours, applicants have offered to have third party, whether it's a licensed electrician or a fire alarm contractor goes on and does an annual inspection to make sure the detectors are within date of useful life and to verify that they're working properly. Is that something you would be willing to also do for this variance, is have these inspected annually?
Yeah, I couldn't see that be a problem. I would assume the company that it looks at the fire extinguishers, ABC, can't think of the last name, would probably be into that, but I'm sure I could get a line on that.
Okay, yes, in your area, I think some people use licensed electricians who do fire alarm system work. Others just use a regular fire alarm contractor or somebody who's qualified under the
Right.
state code to inspect and do maintenance on fire detection, smoke detection, sorry.
Right.
That's all I have.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, Mr. Austin, these are, you indicate you replaced the batteries. These take AA batteries, I assume, or 9 volts?
9 volts.
Okay. Would you be open to considering replacing those with 10-year sealed batteries if the board determines that would be appropriate?
I'm not thinking, I don't know, someone might already be over a period of time replaced, but if it was something I could do over a period of time, I would have no objection to it. I mean, if it was mandated, if that was the only thing in the way, I mean, it's quite a number of units to replace at one time, but if that was a sticking point on the variance, I certainly would comply to whatever was asked of me.
Are you talking about even the local detectors or just the ones that are interconnected from the basement to the?
Both.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, as far as like through the hallway and all those, the smoke detectors and fire detectors are connected now that are electric and battery backup. Yeah, I mean, if that was something that needed to be done, what it is what it is. I would certainly comply to whatever.
Are the
required.
detectors, excuse me, Mr. Austin, are the detectors in the apartments, the ones that are interconnected, just in the apartments, are they hardwired?
Yes, they're hardwired also and backed up.
Okay, so the ones in the apartments are also hardwired. Okay,
Yeah, the ones that are connected, the ones in the apartment are the heat detectors that are connected to the ones in the hallway and cellar are hardwired and battery backup.
no, I'm talking about the smoke alarms in the
Oh,
apartments.
just regular smoke alarms? No, they're the battery operated.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so I'm sorry, just to make sure I understand. So you have a standalone smoke alarms in each apartment, and then you have a heat detector within each apartment that's hardwired to the rest of the building?
Yes, correct.
Right. All right, thank you.
Okay, any other questions from the board?
I have.
We want to,
And I don't know if it make a difference, but I also like to point out that here, not only is the cellar door self-closing, but each of those apartments, they're equipped with the, self-closing entrance door, their front door and their back door. So, they're also self-closing too. So whatever's come along that has been required, I've tried to keep up on the codes with, so whatever's required to get this variance, I certainly would comply with.
To give some background to our questions is that the challenge is that a fire in the basement caused by whatever it is can easily extend following the pipes that go vertical through the chases from the basement to the first floor to the second floor to the third floor unimpeded. And it's very without putting sheetrock and properly sealing in the basement, it's very difficult to plug all those holes going vertically. So the goal is to make sure there's early notification and that the people who live there can self-rescue and get out of the building before the fire extends to their dwelling units. That's what we're trying to achieve. And so the fire alarm system is key to get everybody notified in a timely manner, because fire, particularly in a building that's old and wooden, with unimpeded pipe chases, fire can spread through it pretty quickly. So there's a high reliance on that smoke detection and fire detection. It's interconnected, so people get out above the fire.
Yes, yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay.
Okay. We're gonna go into a short deliberation. And we're gonna go off the record and we'll come back very, very shortly.
Thank you.
Okay, we are back on the record. We are in the second hearing, petition number 2025-0917 in the matter of Forest Austin. Do I have a motion on the seeker?
Make a motion for the Secor for the Syracuse Regional Board of Review. Number one, that the Board of Review find and determine that the issuance of a variance in petition number 2025-0917 will not have a significant adverse impact on environment and will not have a significant adverse effect on any significant fish or wildlife habitat, scenic resources of statewide significance, excuse me, important agricultural land or area included in an approved local waterfront revitalization program. And number two, that the Department of State be authorized to sign and deliver on behalf of the Syracuse Regional Board of Review and the Department of State. A, the State Environmental Quality Review Act short environmental assessment form indicating that no or small impact may occur in response to each question in part 2 of the form, and determining in part 3 of the form that the proposed action will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts. B, the New York State Department of State Coastal Management Program Coastal Assessment Form, and C, the certification of significant coastal impact.
And I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. I'll poll the board. Ms. Swistak,
Aye.
Mr. Parsons,
Aye.
Mr. Beverly.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, 4 ayes, no nays. The seeker is passed. Do I
Mr.
have a Go ahead, Mr. Parsons.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion on the matter of petition of Forest Austin for variance to Chapter 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York State Multiple Residence Law. Upon the application of Forest Austin, upon taking testimony and hearing argument thereupon at a duly noticed hearing before the Syracuse Board of Review, also held via video conference at the following location: Hughes State Office Building, 333 East Washington Street, first floor, main hearing room, Syracuse, New York, 13202, on April 16th, 2026. And upon all other papers in this matter, the board makes the following determination. In the nature of the grievance and the relief sought, the petition pertains to an existing apartment building 3 stories in height with an apartment on each floor totaling 3 total dwelling units. The subject building is classified as R2 residential occupancy, 3 stories with a basement of type 5B wood frame construction, unprotected construction, located at 1506 Catherine Street, City of Utica, County of Oneida, State of New York. Relief is requested upon Chapter 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Section 30, cellar ceilings, which states that in every such dwelling 3 stories or more in height, the ceiling of the cellar or of the lowest story, if there be no cellar, shall be fire retarded and be equipped with sprinkler system unless such ceiling has already been plastered to the satisfaction of the department. The petitioner requests relief to allow unfinished ceiling to remain without installing a sprinkler system. Petitioner also requests relief from Chapter 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Section 31, inside cellar stairs, which states every stair leading from the cellar to the floor above in all old multiple dwellings shall be enclosed with fire retarded partitions and shall be equipped with a fire retarded self-closing door located as the department may approve. The petitioner is requesting relief to allow the stairway to the basement without enclosing the stairs in a rated partition and door. The findings of facts: 1, the subject building is approximately 3,504 square feet in gross area and was originally constructed around 1925 and contains 3 dwelling units. 2, the building that is subject to this petition is properly classified under Chapter 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 1, Section 4 Section 433 as a multiple dwelling. 3, the subject building is required to conform with the provisions of Article 3 of the Multiple Residence Law as provided in Section 25 in that it existed on July 1st, 1952, or was converted to a multiple dwelling after July 1st, 1952, and is not a motel or single dwelling subject to Article 4 of the Multiple Residence Law. 4, the petitioner states that the building presently has hardwire interconnected UL-rated code-compliant combination smoke and carbon monoxide detector alarms within each unit and throughout the building, with 2 smoke detectors located in the basement connected to the smoke detectors at each landing and a heat detector inside each dwelling unit, all hardwired. 5, the petitioner states that all dwelling units' entry doors are self-closing rated doors. The walls are plaster coated at all common areas and at multiple code compliant means of egress, and finished ceilings are present throughout the egress corridors and above the stairways. 6, the basement is unoccupied except for a boiler, water heater, and main electrical panel. No storage is present. 7, the petitioner states that installing fire-rated gypsum board or plastering the basement ceiling would prove to be physically impracticable as the existing plumbing pipes, heating piping, electrical wiring, and other mechanical equipment present multiple impediments that would impose substantial difficulties with the installation. 8, the petitioner states that the basement access is from an existing stair connecting to the common hallway. The basement stairway door is a rated self-closing door. 9, the local code official has been consulted in this matter and supports the granting of the variance under Part 1205. In the conclusion of law, the proposed variance will not substantially adversely affect the code's provisions for health, safety, and security. Strict compliance with the provisions of the Uniform Fire Prevention and Building Code would entail practical difficulties, economic hardship, or would otherwise be unwarranted because such would create an excessive and unreasonable economic burden, would be physically or legally impracticable, and would be unnecessary in light of alternatives which, without a loss of the level of safety, achieve the intended objective of the code. In the determination, therefore, it is determined that the application for a variance from Chapter 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Section 30 and Section 31, be and is hereby granted with the following conditions. 1, that the property owner shall hire a third-party independent code certified inspection agency to test the alarm system annually at a minimum and shall submit inspection results to the City of Utica Building Department. Inspection reports shall also be left on site and be readily available for inspection. 2, the tenant storage and laundry services or equipment shall not be allowed in the unfinished basement area. 3, that the building shall otherwise comply with local, state building codes and local ordinance. This decision is limited to the specific building and application before it, as contained within the petition, and should not be interpreted to give implied approval of any general plans or specifications presented in support of this application, and I so move.
I have
I
a motion.
second.
Do I have a second? Ms. Swistack seconds. I'll poll the board. Ms. Swistack,
Aye.
Mr. Parsons,
Aye.
Mr. Beverly.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, 4 ayes, no nays. The petition for a variance is granted. Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
will move- We will move on to our third hearing. Petition number is 2026-0009. This hearing is in the matter of SPD LLC. Do we have the applicant here to present the case?
Yes, good morning, board members. How are you this morning?
Good. Thank you.
My name is Dan Morelli of SRG Architects with an office located at 143 J Street in Schenectady, New York, 12305. And I am representing Dr. Arvinder Singh and SPD LLC and his request for relief from New York State MRL Section 30, which requires cellar ceilings to be fire retarded or equipped with a sprinkler system, and New York State MRL Section 31, which requires cellar stairs to be fire retarded or equipped with a sprinkler system. I have two applications on the agenda today, so I'm just going to read off my spreadsheet so I don't mix the two projects up, if you don't mind. So if I'm not looking directly at you, that's why I'm looking down at my spreadsheet. The pre-existing building located at 112 to 116 South Ferry Street in the city and county of Schenectady, state of New York, is a 3-story structure with a full unfinished basement. Currently has 9 residential dwelling units in a townhouse style building as follows. Address 112, which is to the far right, has 1 unit on the first floor, 1 unit on the second floor, and 2 units on the third floor. Address number 114 is in the middle and has 1 unit on the first floor, 1 unit on the second floor, and 1 unit on the third floor. And address 116, which is to the far left, has 2 units on the third floor with the second floor unit and third floor units from 114 extending over the top of that. The structure is classified as an R2 occupancy with type 3B construction and a total combined gross floor area of approximately 11,260 square feet, including the full basement, and was constructed circa 1900. Individual dwelling units located on the first, second, and third floors of the building, as noted above, are finished with plaster or drywall ceilings and currently have single station 10-year lithium battery operated carbon monoxide detectors within each unit that will be disabled and swapped out with hardwired or wireless interconnected UL rated code compliant combination smoke and carbon monoxide detectors at similar locations. There are currently single station 10-year lithium battery operated smoke detectors inside each bedroom, which will remain as is. Each dwelling unit is served by a gas stove. Common hallways and stairways leading to the dwelling units are currently have single station 10-year lithium battery operated carbon monoxide detectors at designated locations throughout the building, which will be disabled and swapped out with hardwired or wireless interconnected UL rated code compliant combination smoke and carbon monoxide detectors at similar locations. All disabled devices throughout the building will be completely removed. There are currently fire rated self-closing doors leading from common areas in each individual dwelling unit, and there are currently multiple code compliant means of egress as defined by the MRL law, including exterior steel fire escapes located at the front and rear of the structure. The full basement is unfinished, has no sprinkler system, and currently has no smoke and or carbon monoxide detectors present. New hardwired or wireless interconnected, UL rated, code compliant combination smoke and carbon monoxide detectors will be installed at designated locations throughout the basement. There is currently 1 fire rated self-closing door leading from the interior of the building to the basement, which shall remain. There are currently gas meters, gas furnaces, and gas hot water heaters located in the basement, but no laundry services are present on site, and storage shall not be permitted in the basement. The property owner agrees to hire an independent inspection agent to inspect the detection system upon completion on an annual basis and file an on-site report prior to contacting city codes for the required inspections. The applicant is seeking relief from New York State MRL Section 30 for cellar ceilings and New York State MRL Section 31 for cellar stairs based on the following findings of fact. The structure has been inspected yearly in recent years for compliance with the 2020 New York State Building Code by City of Schenectady code enforcement officials for the issuance of rental certificates, and the property owner proposes to perform the above listed actions to meet the requirements of the MRL law. Instructing a fire retardant ceiling in the unfinished common areas of the pre-existing basement or installing a sprinkler system would create an excessive and unreasonable economic burden on the property owner and their tenants, simply due to the high cost of performing these tasks, as well as the MEP obstructions currently present in the exposed basement ceiling, therefore making the installation physically impractical. I will note that there are several sections of the basement ceiling that are covered with sheetrock and taped, but it's pretty deteriorated and it is kind of falling apart. You can see that in the photographs. And those were in the areas that could be sheetrocked, and that was done years and years ago. The alternate measure to achieve the intended objective is the presence of hardwired or wireless interconnected UL-rated code compliant combination smoke and carbon monoxide detectors at designated locations throughout the building. The single station 10-year lithium battery operated smoke detectors that presently are in each bedroom, the fire rated self-closing door from common areas into each individual dwelling unit, and a fire rated self-closing door leading to the basement, in addition to the multiple code compliant means of egress as defined by the MRL law. Therefore, based on our testimony today, the property owner respectfully requests relief from New York State MRL Section 30 and Section 31. Are there any questions for me at this time?
Thank you, Mr. Morelli. I just have a question about the construction type. I see it's indicated as type 3 ordinary construction. Can you
Yes.
just speak a little bit further as to the construction and what the how the building is constructed?
Yes. Certain parts of the building are masonry construction and wood backup framing, and other sections of the building are wood framing with siding, vinyl siding.
Okay. And all of the floors and the interior walls are of wood frame construction? Okay. Lastly, the egress from the basement. Can you just explain a little bit more about how you egress to the exterior, the egress points and where they come out on the exterior?
I can. Actually, the egress, there's one entrance into the basement. It's from a common hallway inside of building 112. So basically, you'd have to enter building 112 and you either go up the stairs to the upper units, or you go to the backside of the stairs and then down to the basement. So there's one means of entrance and egress to the basement, and only one means, and it's
Okay.
at that location within the building.
Okay.
So to answer your question, to get out, you'd have to come up the stairs, through the hallway, and out the entrance door.
Okay. Thank you. Do I have any other questions from the board? No?
Oh, what? What's that picture?
It's the last two pictures.
The last two photos in the application show, is that a closer that's attached to the upper part of the door?
Yeah,
Above
I
where it
think
says welcome.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Let me just pull that photograph up. I believe that's a spring-loaded closer. Yes, that's exactly what that is.
Commercial.
That's a spring-loaded closer that when the door is fully open, that will pull the door shut. It's kind of,
So that got a listing on it. It's not something that I've seen before. It seems very residential or very
Right.
non-listed, it may function that way, but is it really?
It could just be unhooked, right?
It could be. Actually, believe it or not, I would use it. I would refer to using it like on a fence door, an exterior fence door to help
Yeah.
close it. The city of Schenectady allows these to be used and has allowed these to be used. And many of the buildings have them. They do function. I'm certain that they're not rated.
Yeah. If you're using these for compliance, for a rating, I don't think it really checks all the boxes, so to speak.
We'd have no problem putting a condition in there to put an actual closer on the door, whether it be spring hinged or an actual, closer at the top of the door, a hydraulic closer.
I think a appropriately listed closer.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we see these more often than not in the city. They've been allowing them to use them forever. And a lot of people have switched out to the hinge, the self-closing hinge.
Yeah.
But this particular building still has these as closers.
Okay. You would
I have
have
no
an
problem
objection.
making it a condition.
Okay. All right. And Mr. Shank and Mr. DiTullio, you might want to just put a note on, yeah, there you go. But also other properties with the city of Utica, this is what they're allowing.
Yeah, this is the
I'm
first.
sorry,
I've actually
this is
seen-
connected. Sorry.
Right, this is the first time I've actually seen these.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Gail just caught it. I wasn't really paying attention to it. Okay.
thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Morelli. We'll go into a very brief recess to deliberate, and then we'll be back.
Okay, thank you.
We'll go off the record.
Oh, I see that.
We are on the third hearing, petition number 2026-0009 in the matter of SPD LLC. Do I have a motion on the seeker?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a seeker motion for the Syracuse Regional Board of Review. Item 1, that the Board of Review find and determine that the issuance of a variance in petition number 2026-0009 will not have a significant adverse impact on the environment and will not have a significant adverse effect on any significant fish or wildlife habitat, scenic resource of statewide significance, important agricultural land, or area included in an approved local waterfront revitalization program. And 2, that the Department of State be authorized to sign and deliver on behalf of the Syracuse Regional Board of Review and the Department of State, A, the State Environmental Quality Review Act Short Environmental Assessment Form, indicating that no or small impact may occur in response to each question in Part 2 of the form, and determining in Part 3 of the form that the proposed action will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts. B, that the New York State Department of State Coastal Management Program Coastal Assessment Form, and C, the certification of no significant coastal impact.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, we have a second. I'll poll the board. Ms. Swistak,
Aye.
Mr. Parsons,
Aye.
Mr. Beverly.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, 4 ayes, no nays. The seeker is passed. Do I have a motion on the petition?
Mr. Chair, you'll have to bear with me. I'm going to have to pause in the middle of this motion, but I would like to make a motion in the matter of petition of Arvinder and Jesleen Singh of SPD LLC for variance to Chapter 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York Multiple Residence Law. In the petition number 2026009, upon application of Arvinder and Jesleen Singh of SPD LLC, 12 Fenway Drive, Loudonville, New York, and upon taking testimony and hearing argument thereon at a duly noticed hearing before the Syracuse Board of Review, also via video conference call on WebEx at the following location: Hughes State Office Building, 333 East Washington Street, first floor, main hearing room, Syracuse, New York, 13202, on April 16th, 2026, and upon all papers in this matter the board makes the following determination. The petition pertains to an existing 9-dwelling unit townhouse style apartment building, 3 stories in height, of type 3B ordinary unprotected construction totaling 11,260 square feet, located at 112, 114, and 116 South Ferry Street, City of Schenectady, County of Schenectady, State of New York. Relief is requested from Chapter 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Section 30, cellar ceilings, which states that in every such dwelling, 3 stories or more in height, the ceiling of cellar or of the lowest story, if there be no cellar, shall be fire retarded and be equipped with a sprinkler system unless such dwelling has already been plastered into the satisfaction of the department. Relief is also sought in, bear with me, this is Chapter 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Section 31, inside cellar stairs. Every stair leading from the cellar to the floor above in all old multiple dwellings shall be enclosed with fire retardant partitions and shall be equipped with a fire retarded self-closing door located as the department may approve. In the findings of fact, 1, the building that is subject to the petition is an existing 9-dwelling unit apartment building constructed circa 1900 with an address of 112, which has 4 dwelling units as follows: 1 unit in the first and second floor and 2 units on the 3rd floor at address 114, 1 dwelling unit on the first, second, and 3rd floor at the address 116, 2 dwelling units on the 1st floor. 2, the building that is subject to this petition is properly classified under Chapter 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York State, Multiple Residence Law, Multiple Residence Law, Article 1, Section 430, parentheses 33 as multiple dwelling. 3, subject building is required to conform with the provisions of Article 3 of the Multiple Residence Law as provided in Section 24 in that existed on July 1st, 1952, or was converted to a multiple dwelling unit after July 1st, 1952. It is not a hotel or similar dwelling unit subject to Article 4 of the Multiple Residence Law. 4, the petitioner states in the narrative that the building's interior walls and finishes are finished with plaster or drywall and that the dwelling units have self-closing doors from the common spaces and are code compliant with the Multiple Residence Law. 5, the petition states in the narrative that all common areas and dwelling units currently have single station battery operated combination detectors that will be removed and replaced with hardwired or wireless interconnected UL rated code compliant combination smoke and CO alarms. 6, the petitioner states in the narrative that the full basement is unfinished, has no sprinkler system and no smoke or CO detection devices. A new multiple hardwired or wireless interconnected UL rated code compliant combination smoke and CO detectors shall be installed in designated locations. 7, the petitioner states in the narrative that the basement is accessed from the interior via a door from a common space. The present door is fire rated, self-closing, and will be secured. 8, the petitioner states in the narrative that there is no laundry service or storage presently in the basement. 9, that the property owner agrees to hire a third-party independent code certified inspection agency to test the alarm system annually at a minimum and shall submit inspection results to the City of Schenectady Building Department. Inspection reports shall also be left on site and be readily available for inspection. 10, petitioner states that installing fire-rated gypsum board or plastering the basement ceiling would prove to be physically impractical as the existing plumbing, pipes, heating pipe, electrical wiring, and other mechanical equipment present multiple impediments would impose substantial difficulties with installation. 11, code official has been consulted in this matter and supports the granting of the variance under Part 12.5. 12, the building shall otherwise comply with all local and state building codes and local ordinances. In the conclusion of law, the proposed variance will not substantially adversely affect the code provisions for health, safety, and security. Strict compliance with the provisions of the Uniform Fire Prevention Building Code would entail practical difficulties, economic hardship, or would otherwise be unwarranted because such would create an excessive and unreasonable economic burden, would be physically or legally impracticable, and would be unnecessary in light of alternatives which, without a loss of level of safety, achieve the intended objective of this code. Therefore, it is determined that the application for variance from Chapter 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Section 30 and Section 31, be and is hereby granted with the following conditions. That all smoke detector devices shall be interconnected together as one system, be UL compliant and in conformance with NFPA 72. 2, that the property owner shall hire a third-party independent code-certified inspection agency to test the alarm system annually at a minimum and shall submit inspection results to the City of Schenectady Building Department. Inspection reports shall also be left on site and be readily available. 3, the tenant storage or laundry services or equipment shall not be allowed in the unfinished basement area. And 4, that all non-listed self-closer on fire-rated doors shall be replaced with listed closers, either the hinge type or arm type, in lieu of non-listed closers. This decision is limited to the specific building application and code section contained within the petition and should not be interpreted to give implied approval of any general plans or specifications presented in support of this application. This decision shall not this shall not be inferred to relieve the petitioner from or nullify any more restrictive federal, state, or local ordinance, administrative rule, code, or regulation relating to any matter. All conditions, enhancements, and equipment offered by the petitioner shall be installed as described in accordance with the applicable codes and accepted reference standards. I so move.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, I have a second. I'll poll the board. Ms. Swistak,
Aye.
Mr. Parsons,
Aye.
Mr. Beverly.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, 4 ayes, no nays. The petition for a variance is granted. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
We will now move to our fourth hearing. Petition number is 2026-0029. This hearing is in the matter of RRA Properties at Glen Ave LLC. Do we have the applicant here?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead when you're ready.
My name's Henry. This is Bob. He's the owner of the property I'm representing. We're here for 136 Glen Avenue in Scotia, requesting a variance pursuant to MRL Article 3, Section 26 concerning egress. When we were originally closing on the building department let us know that we may need a variance because we don't have enclosed stairwells in the building. While speaking in depth with the building inspector, he mentioned that we should consider doing an early detection system as a viable alternative, as it allows the natural light. So those 2 stairwells are the only source of natural light into the shared hallways of the building. The building itself is a 14-unit, 3-story apartment building. It was constructed in 1936. Now it does have 2 independent means of egress. They're just not enclosed. And enclosing them would require significant structural modifications, altering layout, and disrupting the occupied units. So we proactively implemented UL compliant Honeywell commercial fire communicator. So that has both hardwired smokes and heat detectors. So you have smokes in the hallways on each floor of the building and heat detectors in every unit. as well as, of course, wireless smoke detectors in each unit. They're all hardwired to a control panel in the basement, which uses cellular. It has 2 backup batteries as well. And then when triggered, the system notifies the local fire department, which is right around the corner from the building. It's less than 400 feet away. And it's monitored 24/7 by Development, Fire, and Security. And they also inspect it annually. The system differs from the code requirement, but we believe it directly addresses the core objective of fire safety by reducing the detection time and accelerating the response time. And given the building's age, the limitations in place, and proactive safety measures we've already taken, we respectfully request that this system be considered an equivalent alternative and that a variance be granted. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer the best I can. I also have Bob here. Also, I know Lewis, building inspector, is here. I'm not sure if he wanted to add anything as well.
Okay, we will pull the board for questions first, and then we will have Lewis speak if he wishes. I just have a few questions regarding those stairs and egress at grade. Do both of the stairs have doors that egress to grade?
Yes,
Both the front and rear stair?
that's correct.
Okay. Looking also, I see a laundry room, a boiler room, and then adjacent to those, a storage room towards the back of the building. Is this considered the lowest, is that considered subterranean or below grade space, or is this above grade?
I'm not exactly sure what you'd call it. I call it a garden view type of apartment. So so it's maybe, it's definitely below grade. Some of it's below grade. I don't know what you would consider it or what it's called.
Okay. It'd essentially be a basement then at that level.
It would be a basement.
Yes.
Okay. What's the condition of those rooms? Are they finished? Are they unfinished? What type of things are stored in there, and what also, what type of equipment would be in that utility room?
So the utility room, there is a gas boiler and a gas hot water heater. That was installed, a new boiler, I think, was installed somewhere around 2012, and the hot water heater was installed in, let's say, 2022, 2023. So that boiler room itself, this was all constructed, obviously, prior to me owning the building, but it does look to me, it's like a concrete wall, firewall around that. As well as on the ceiling, it's all enclosed and fire retardant for that boiler room.
Okay.
As far as I know, it's got a metal door. Looks to me like it's a fire door. It's a big, thick steel, heavy door.
Okay. Is the same true for the laundry room and storage room? Are those finished spaces?
I would say the storage room is not. I wouldn't call them finished, but the ceilings, at least in the laundry room, it's definitely got a finished ceiling. Storage room, I don't think there's an actual finished ceiling on that.
Okay.
I do believe the prior owner came in for some sort of variances before, just by when I was speaking to a gentleman from the state. So I don't know exactly what they are, but he was able to see that there were other variances, I believe, that she got. Her name was Linda Peak.
Okay. I didn't see anything in the documents provided that would indicate, the conditions of those spaces to us, which is why I was asking those questions.
Okay. Yep.
Any other questions from the board members?
I do, I have a couple. I'm looking at the floor plans. I've also looked at the pictures of the hallways and the stairways. Clearly, stair 1 and stair 2 are not separated. There's no fire separation between those stairways on any floor that I can see. Is that correct? My observation of the photos and the drawings?
Yes.
I believe so.
Okay. Is there a way to put a fire rated door in the middle of the corridor on each floor that creates separation of those two stairwells?
I would say there's a way, but that's what I think here to get the variance for, because I believe.
Yeah, because how I see this is if one stairway is impaired by smoke or fire, that the other stairway, as this layout is just as vulnerable. The first floor I'm less concerned about. I am mostly concerned about the second, third floors. Particularly third floor, obviously, has the longest travel distance from a dwelling to the exterior of the building. And creating isolation, structural isolation between those two stairwells, I think is the most appropriate. I don't think a functioning functioning fire alarm system does enough to abate the hazard. Yes, early detection, everything else, but if somebody starts a fire as an arson on one of those stairwells, there is no second means of egress that doesn't get affected by a fire, or we won't even use arson, let's say an unintended fire on any corridor, on any floor of that building is going to spread vertically through both stairs, both fire and smoke, and will impede the exit. I don't think an early notification does enough to mitigate that.
Yeah, I would say our understanding or our thought on that was to put the early detection system in, because we thought that would that really would be a better way of doing it, especially being there's a building up the road that has done what we're talking about. The building, the doors stay open, people prop them open all the time. So it's one of those things where you can put the door there, but they're going to prop it open so they can walk through from the back parking lot or the front door. And that's why we felt
there's a way to do that. Since you already have a fire alarm system, you can put magnetic hold ovens, so the door is always open. But if the fire alarm system goes off because of smoke or heat, the magnet releases, the door automatically closes. So functionally, the door can be open all the time. And actually, you need a fire alarm system would be the best mechanism to make sure it closes. I've seen this situation in the jurisdiction I was previously in charge of, and I can just tell you that having dealt with some fires in these types of buildings, I just know how things work, and creating some independence, even just putting the door in the middle of the hallway doesn't make it code compliant. It's a mitigation for the lack of code compliance. And I'm trying to figure out, it almost looked like it was intended to have a door, but nobody did it, which is kind of bizarre to me. If this was a 2-story building, I could see this layout. When it went to 3 stories, that's where, for me, it made this more of a challenge. So right now, as I see this bill, I won't support the variance on this, just on the fire alarm system. I think if you looked at adding a door in each hallway, at least a structural piece to separate those on each floor, so one stairway doesn't get contaminated by a problem in the other stairway. Or it may even be a hallway on a lower floor. I'll use the third floor as the worst example. It has the longest travel distance. And we'll deal with any problem on the first floor or basement, wherever smoke can come from. Wherever it comes from, it's gonna go up. It's gonna go down the hallway and go up both stairs. If there's a fire, it eventually will work its way interior up both stairs. And I'm not talking about the walls burning. I'm talking about things like carpet or flooring or combustible materials, which will cause smoke and heat to travel up through there. That's my concern on this layout, and I'm just looking for a little bit mitigation. That's my position. That's how I see it.
Would be a continuation of that firewall.
Yeah, I think so. Again, I don't know if this is representative of all the dwelling units or all the, but that's how I see this building's layout as well. As I see the drawings, there's 4 drawings here.
Any other questions? Go ahead, Mr. Beverly.
Yeah, thank you. Has any other mitigating factors been considered by the applicants as far as, we talked about the separation, but adding sprinkler systems, anything else that could be offered potentially as solutions or mitigating solutions?
We've looked at, when we came into the building and purchased it, we looked at everything. Bringing a sprinkler system in, you'd have to bring in a whole new water tap. It would just not be, it'd be very costly. Let's just say that. There was the 2 options. We could have just put the doors between the units like we said, but we felt honestly that an early detection system where it detects smoke in the hallway and then and a fire in the apartment was a better use of money rather than putting those doors in. To be honest with you, the fire alarm system costs more for us than putting those doors in. So that's where we felt it was necessary. We, in good faith wanted to do that. We think it's a good idea anyway. We just, honestly, I really don't feel that putting those doors, I understand your concerns and your comments, and I completely understand it. I just don't think with our early detection fire system that that it would be a great idea to put those in. I think then you're blocking off good light. It's something to, people are running through in case of emergency. They put, who knows what they put next to that door because they can't get through the door, put bicycles in the hallway or something like that. And it could become cumbersome. So that's where I think we felt it was necessary to go. But we hear what you have to say, and I appreciate your consideration on this, and that's all we can ask for.
Let me tell you where I'm coming from this. And again, this is 37 years in the fire service, and half of that doing code enforcement in one form or another. I'm telling you, I'm just trying to explain, and let me put it in more descriptive manner. At 3 o'clock in the morning, with a tenant who maybe have some impairment physically, mentally, or otherwise, their reaction time is going to be much slower than maybe you or somebody younger could be able to react to the fire alarm. Because every fire alarm system that's installed, you have to assume reaction time. Does the person recognize alarms going off? Do they hear it going off in their dwelling unit? Do they get up and say, well, what's going on? Why is the fire alarm going off? All that, especially on the 3rd floor, all of that creates a delay to the response. In the meantime, you have smoke, which takes time to achieve a density for the alarm system to go off in the first place. Time it takes for the smoke to get to trip the alarm, because we don't want them to be oversensitive and triggering all the time. They hit a threshold, they go off. We're already behind the clock on fire progression and development. Now you add on to maybe a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes for the occupant to react to the fire alarm appropriately, because they're going to gather their phone, they're going to gather their belongings. By the time they get to the door, they're on this fire maybe on the 1st floor of the basement. They're on the 3rd floor. They walk in. They have no way of going either direction without smoke, heat impeding their egress. Having a door on each floor at least isolates it so that they have a choice when they walk out of the apartment. If they walk down a hallway, there's smoke and heat coming up the stair. They can walk down the hall, go through a fire rated door to get a safe haven on the floor they're residing on to go down a protected set of stairs. That's what the fire door does.
I understand. I do. Again, it just comes down to, my opinion on it was that money was better spent on the early detection system, and that's why we did that. We went that route.
I'm sharing with you, I would, if this was a local board that I was part of and having approval, this is a state board. In my community that I used to work for, we had a local board. It's very similar variances, things like this. I would ask for both the door separation and the smoke fire alarm system. Because I think it's warranted for at least the common areas to have detection and annunciation in the apartment. So I'm just telling you my professional opinion, having done this a long, long time, and also working in buildings similar to this, not exactly like this, where fire and smoke have extended through stairwells and across floors where doors and fire doors have been blocked open. So I know what I'm talking about when I'm sharing with you. I appreciate your opinion. I'm telling you what my experience is, professional.
I appreciate your opinion and your experience as well. Are you stating that just the third floor would be the place where you would want that?
No, it probably.
If we were able to get it.
No, we'd be looking at multiple floors, basically a separation on each level. Again.
Oh, I thought I heard you.
No.
My mistake. I thought I heard you before.
No, I gave you the third floor as the worst case because let's say you put a third floor door, the smoke and heat can travel across the second floor and go and contaminate both stairs. The smoke and heat can travel across the first floor and contaminate both stairs. So we're looking for a vertical isolation in the middle of the building, basically going to each level.
Understood. I just thought you mentioned that it was if it was a two-story building that you'd consider it. So that's why I was a little confused. But
the two-story building, the code looks at the travel distance differently. The code functions differently. You don't fall under the MRL in this situation that you're trying to achieve in 26. So you're dealing with because it's the third floor that triggers this. But it's the continuation of that stair from the third floor protected both stairs. And again, we're not asking you to put a fire door on each end of the stair. We're actually suggesting for me to support a variance would be creating separation on each level between those two stairs, a rated door, and you got a fire alarm system. You could put automatic closer on it so the door stays open all the time.
So I guess let's go back because I think, and maybe Lewis could speak to this too. And it's been a while since I was in that other building that was the same exact, someone must have built the same buildings and then sold them off. But I thought that they had two doors in the hallway, but you're stating just put one somewhere, in the center. So that would be code compliant then if we just put one in the center, not two?
That's what
for some reason I was wondering.
You have a firewall right in the center already that you could continue.
At least on the upper floors.
Or the other choice
All the
would
floors, I
be
believe, they're all the same.
One door would.
stairwell.
I think Mr. Parsons has suggested one door at each level to essentially make this a case where we could look at a variance. Two doors would at the end of the corridor into the stairs would bring you up to code,
Right.
and not necessitate the variance. So by having one door, you're still exiting, whether, when you look at the exiting from your units into the corridor, there's still a point there where you're exiting into the corridor, which is open to the stair. And that is where you're not in compliance with the code with one door in the middle of the corridor. But it's something that I think gets us closer to looking at a variance on the case, certainly. But right now, as you have it proposed. I concur with Mr. Parsons that, there's no compartmentalization of your stairs and corridors. Smoke and heat can spread throughout either stair, any of the corridors, with ease. And so the separation with the single doors at each level, on each level, compartmentalize this building for ensuring safe egress.
At least from,
Okay, so
at least protecting from the smoke, if not the heat.
okay, so would you consider granting the variance contingent on putting one fire door in the middle on I guess those three levels?
What I would propose, without drawings showing where you're going to put them in a thoughtful way, I would propose to
I'd put them right in the center of the units, right between you can see where the kitchens line up. We would run that door across.
Yeah, I mean, for Exhibit B and Exhibit, sorry, let me look at this again. Page 1, Exhibit B, I think that's a solution. Page 2 of Exhibit B, that's a solution. Page 3 of Exhibit B, that would be a solution. And again, this is one of those things. In page 4 of the basement in Exhibit C, I'm looking at the exhibit numbers. I'm sorry, I messed up. There's Exhibit A. Sorry, there's 2 Exhibit Bs. I'm confused. There's 2 Exhibit Bs, one Exhibit C, and 1 Exhibit D. So I don't know, is that 2 Bs identical, or is that one supposed to be? I don't know what you're trying. I'm a little confused on the.
So all the apartments are directly stacked on top of each other.
Okay.
So it's literally the same exact layout from basement to ceiling, or sorry, basement to 3rd floor. The only difference on the, let's call it the basement floor, would be that the front 2 units are apartments, and then let's call them the back 2 units would be where your boiler room is, your laundry room, and your storage area. So it's all literally identical. If you were to, drop a penny and there were no walls there, it would go right through all the walls, separating the unit.
Yeah. Okay, if we get an understanding that you're going to put a fire rated door with a hole open and closing device, because I think you explained a very practical thing about people propping doors open. If you put a hole open device on it, part of your fire alarm system, basically that door only closes when the alarm system goes off, then you've created isolation. And so it again addresses it. So you're talking about 2 fire rated doors, probably some additional walls that frame them in the middle. So you have proper, doorway function, because you're gonna remember the door's got to swing and you got to be able to fully swing it open. So if you were to agree to that, I would agree to it, but I think we would hand it off to local code official. Is that you? The local code, Mr. Tulio, he understands what we're trying to achieve. He would work with you and you submit your plans to him to what you're going to do. I could support a variance. Again, you're still not code compliant. You can put these doors in. We're trying to use the fire alarm system and these doors to create a practical solution to a problem that affects the occupants in this building.
If I could say something.
Yes.
I understand. I fully understand what you're saying. Just to give you a little history, this is a pre-COVID application that started, like Bob said, with a prior owner, and then it was sold. We had early worked with Joe McGrath, as you all know, on some direction on this. So that's where the detecting system came from. I like what you're saying about the single door in the hallway, because we had a very similar constructed building up the road they installed the 2 doors at both ends of the stairway. And the problem with that is you totally block out natural light, which I didn't care for too much. I had to have them put in additional lighting in order to make up for no lighting in the hallway. So that creates an issue. But the 1 door, I like what you're saying because it's not blocking that natural light from either side of the stair hall, which are all very nicely natural lighted up stairways. So yeah, I understand keeping with this system. I think you're talking about a fuse link as far as connecting to the fire alarm.
No fuse link, no, a magnet.
Nope, not a fuse link? Oh, the magnet, okay, the magnet is
Fuse
connection.
links are triggered by fire. Magnets are triggered by the smoke fire alarm system activating them to release. Basically, it cuts off the power.
So the magnet
So-
doors, okay.
So
I
let me-
understand all that.
Okay, let me just explain. I would normally ask for doors on both ends, because frankly, natural light in the hallway is meaningless. I was looking at the practicality because you have doors that essentially exits, including dwelling units, exit right to the stairwell at the top landing of the stairwell. So it would be difficult to install a fire rated door. Or I'm looking at where am I looking at? Where it says first, second, third floor layout of Exhibit C. Both at and I don't know, the top part of the picture and the back part of the picture shows exit doors from those apartments directly to the stair. I was just trying to look at what a practical separation would achieve. To me, it's the 1 door at the fire separation line that at least that's what this dark line in the middle of the drawing seems to indicate that's some type of fire break or some design function break in the building.
I apologize to interrupt, but can I know the name of who is speaking on the call there? Because they just had phone number.
All right, this is Louis Aguero, I'm the building inspector, code enforcement officer for the Village of Scotia.
Thank you.
Thank you. I didn't know who you were either, so I thought you maybe been part of the ownership. So do you understand where I was looking at the drawings? I don't know if you have the drawings in front of you.
Yeah, no, totally. I totally get, I mean, the center, like he said, all the apartments line up, so it wouldn't be an issue with stacking all 3 fire doors on top of each other for the most part, and then creating that separation between the 2 stairways. No, I totally understand that.
Okay, second question here. Are the doors to the apartments self-closing doors?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's see. We go look.
I
From
was
what
done
we can tell
speaking.
in the exhibits that are provided, is there a door already framed out on the basement level in the middle of the corridor?
I don't believe that's a fire door, though. Yeah.
It's just an opening?
I don't know if there's actually, I'd really not sure there's a door. I mean, there's a frame around it maybe, but I don't know if there's a door. I honestly don't remember. I can walk through it. I never have to open a door. I know that.
I think from my standpoint, as one board member, but I suspect I heard maybe I have some people who agree with me, that between Mr. DiTullio, who I think he understands what I'm trying to achieve, we're okay with moving with his variance with those conditions. Added basically a door separating each hallway on each floor with the intended purpose of isolating one stair from the other. And
I also understand that as well.
That for me, that's what I would be comfortable supporting.
Do we have any other comments or questions from board members? Okay, anything else? Any other testimony from the applicant? Okay, with that, we will go into a short deliberation.
Okay, I will say this, I'll say this now before we come back out of deliberation. If there's anything else that we don't see in the drawing or in the submittal that affects the isolation of these 2 stairs by putting these doors in, Mr. DiTullio will confer with the chair whether we need to come back to fix something with the variance. Okay, hopefully we don't, but that'll be,
I mean, I'll bring stuff and stop by.
okay, yeah. So I don't understand, because we're doing this on basically these handwritten drawings. There's no design drawings or anything else. We have no specs on a door. And I don't know if there's any other connections between those two stairs that may also need to be addressed. So that's why I'm going, this is what I see. I'm acting upon that and what we'll put the wording in the variance that way. Code enforcement official, where are you?
Right here.
What's your name, first name again, sir? I'm sorry.
Louis, Luis.
Okay, Louis. So do you understand that what we're trying to achieve?
Absolutely.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Yep, I am.
Okay,
Mr. Chair and Mr. Parsons, I recommend we do this is Tom to live. We do the language, I'll consult the authority, have jurisdiction, so I really don't have any authority. Louis and I will figure out the correct way to do this.
okay,
The directions that way.
thank you.
We will go off the record for a short deliberation. We will go back into our fourth hearing, petition number 2026-0029. Hearing is in the matter of RRA Properties at Glen Ave LLC. Do I have a motion on the seeker?
You do. I have seeker motion for the Syracuse Regional Board of Review. 1, that the Board of Review find and determine that the issuance of a variance in petition number 2026-0029 will not have a significant adverse impact on environment and will not have significant adverse effect on any significant fish or wildlife habitat, scenic resource of statewide significance, important agricultural land, or area included in an approved local waterfront revitalization program. And number 2, that the Department of State be authorized to sign and deliver on behalf of the Syracuse Regional Board of Review and the Department of State, A, the State Environmental Quality Review Act Short Environmental Assessment Form indicating that no or small impact may occur in response to each question in Part 2 of the form, and determining in Part 3 of the form that the proposed action will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts. B, the New York State Department of State Coastal Management Program Coastal Assessment Form, and C, the certification of no significant coastal impact. I so move.
Okay, we have a motion on the seeker. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a second. I'll poll the board. Ms. Swistak,
Aye.
Mr. Parsons,
Aye.
Mr. Beverly.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, 4 ayes, no nays. The seeker is passed. I would like to make a motion in the matter of petition of Robert Abatiello of RRA Properties at Glen Ave LLC for a variance to Chapter 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York Multiple Residence Law, petition number 2026-0029. Upon the application of Robert Abatiello of RRA Properties at Glen Ave LLC, 703 Riverview Road, Rexford, New York, and upon taking testimony and hearing argument thereon at a duly noticed hearing before the Syracuse Regional Board of Review, also held via video conference call WebEx at the following location: Hughes State Office Building, 333 East Washington Street, first floor, main hearing room, Syracuse, New York, 13202 on April 16, 2026, and upon all other papers in this matter, the board makes the following determination. Petition pertains to an existing 14 dwelling unit apartment building, 3 stories in height, of type 3B ordinary unprotected construction, totaling 12,160 square feet, located at 136 Glen Avenue, Village of Scotia, County of Schenectady, State of New York. Relief is requested from Chapter 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Section 26, egress from dwellings. In every such dwelling, 3 stories or more in height, there shall be from each story at least 2 independent means of egress accessible to each apartment or suite. The first means shall open into a public hall connected with stair, affording safe access to a street or to a yard, court, or passageway, affording continuous, safe, and unobstructed access to a street. The second means shall be a vertical ladder, a fire escape, or an enclosed stair without passing through the first means, except that where the first means includes an interior stair which is closed off at each floor level by fire retarded construction with a fireproof self-closing door therein. The second means may be another such interior stair or fire escape directly accessible on the same story from a public hall therein, whether or not such public hall is also part of the first means provided. Such fire escape is not a wire, chain, cable, vertical ladder, or rope fire escape. In lieu of a second means of egress, a sprinkler system may be installed in the public halls and stairs. Petitioner requests relief that requires enclosed stairways and provides an alternative enhanced fire detection and alarm system that is fully monitored. The board makes the following findings. The building that is the subject of the petition is an existing 14 dwelling unit apartment building constructed circa 1936 of type 3B construction, 3 stories in height, totaling 12,160 square feet. 2, the building that is the subject of this petition is properly classified under Chapter 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 1, Section 4, parentheses 33, as a multiple dwelling. 3, the subject building is required to conform with the provisions of Article 3 of the Multiple Residence Law as provided in Section 25, in that it existed on July 1st, 1952, or was converted to a multiple dwelling after July 1st, 1952, and is not a hotel or similar dwelling subject to Article 4 of the Multiple Residence Law. 4, the petitioner states in the narrative that the building has been issued a variance for sections 30 and 32 of the Multiple Residence Law per variance number 2017-0179. 5, the petitioner states in the narrative that all common spaces have installed, monitored, hardwired, interconnected, UL-rated, code-compliant combination smoke and CO detectors. 6, the local code official has been consulted in this matter and supports the granting of a variance under Part 1205. 7, the building shall otherwise comply with all local and state building codes and local ordinances. The board has the following conclusion of law. The proposed variance will not substantially adversely affect the code's provisions for health, safety, and security. Strict compliance with the provisions of the Uniform Fire Prevention and Building Code would entail practical difficulties, economic hardship, or would otherwise be unwarranted because such would be unnecessary in light of alternatives which, without a loss in the level of safety, achieve the intended objective of the code. Wherefore, it is determined that the application for a variance from Chapter 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Section 26B, and is hereby granted with the following conditions. 1, that all other smoke detector devices and systems installed shall be interconnected together as one system and in conformance with NFPA 72. That the carbon monoxide detectors be maintained as required by the current fire code of New York State. And 3, that a 1-hour rated wall assembly and door be installed on each story, including the basement. The doors shall be self-closing fire-rated doors with magnetic hold-open devices tied into the fire alarm system. The doors should also allow and swing in each direction to provide egress in either direction. This decision is limited to the specific building, application, and code section contained within the petition and should not be interpreted to give implied approval of any general plans or specifications presented in support of this application. This decision shall not be inferred to relieve the petitioner from or nullify any more restrictive federal, state, or local ordinance, administrative code, rule, or regulation relating to any matter. All conditions, enhancements, and equipment offered by the petitioner shall be installed as described and in accordance with the applicable codes and accepted reference standards. I so move.
I'll second.
Do I have a second? Okay, I have a second. I'll poll the board. Ms. Swistak,
Aye.
Mr. Parsons,
Aye.
Mr. Beverly.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, 4 ayes, no nays. The petition for a variance has been granted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Good luck.
We will now move on to our fifth hearing and our final hearing. The petition number is 2026-0008. This hearing is in the matter of VM Fuller LLC. Do we have the applicant here to present the case?
Yes, hello board, Dan Morelli again.
I'm sorry, I just need to take us off the record quickly. I have to move my laptop closer to my charging cable.
We're gonna go off the record for a moment. All right.
Okay, we are back on the record. Mr. Morelli.
All right, my name is Dan Morelli of SRG Architects with an office located at 143 J Street in Schenectady, New York, 12305. I'm here to represent Vitas Miskostas and VM Fuller LLC and their request for relief from New York State MRL Section 30, which requires cellar ceilings to be fire retarded or equipped with a sprinkler system. The pre-existing residential apartment building located at 2 Fuller Street in the city and county of Schenectady, state of New York, is a 3-story structure with a full basement, currently has 16 residential dwelling units, 4 on the first floor, 5 on the second floor, and 7 units on the third floor, and was constructed circa 1935. The structure is classified as an R2 occupancy with type 3B construction and a gross floor area of approximately 9,140 square feet, including a full unfinished basement. Individual dwelling units located on the first, second, and third floors of the building are finished with plaster drywall ceilings and currently have hardwired, interconnected, UL rated, code compliant combination smoke and carbon monoxide detectors within each unit, as well as common areas throughout the building, and hardwired, interconnected, UL rated, code compliant smoke detectors inside each bedroom. It should be noted that all units are served by gas stoves and gas hot water heaters. However, electric baseboard is present. There are currently self-closing doors from common areas into each individual dwelling unit and multiple code compliant means of egress as defined by the MRL law, as well as hardwired emergency lights and illuminated exit signs at designated locations throughout the common areas of the building. The full basement is unfinished, has no sprinkler system, but currently has multiple hardwired, interconnected, UL rated, code compliant combination smoke and carbon monoxide detectors at designated locations throughout the basement. Access to the basement is from the interior of the building through a non-fire rated, non-self-closing door that will be swapped out with a new fire rated self-closing door as required. There are no laundry services on site and no storage shall be permitted in the basement. The property owner agrees to hire an independent inspection agency to inspect the detection system on an annual basis at a minimum and file an on-site report prior to contacting city codes for the required inspections. The applicant is seeking relief from New York State MRL Section 30 for cellar ceilings based on the following findings of fact. The structure has been inspected in recent years for compliance with the 2020 New York State Building Code. I do realize we're on 2025. But it was previously inspected on 2020. New York State Building Code by the City of Schenectady Code Enforcement Office for the issuance of rental certificates, and the property owner proposes to perform the above listed actions to meet the requirements of the MRL law. Installing a fire retardant ceiling in the unfinished common areas of the pre-existing basement or installing a sprinkler system would create an excessive and unreasonable economic burden on the property owner and their tenants simply due to the high cost of performing these tasks, as well as the MEP obstructions currently present in the exposed basement ceiling above, therefore making the installation physically impracticable. The alternate measure to achieve the intended objective is the presence of hardwired, interconnected, UL-rated, code-compliant combination smoke and carbon monoxide detectors at the designated locations throughout the building. Hardwired, interconnected, UL-rated, code-compliant smoke detectors inside each bedroom. Self-closing doors from common areas into each individual dwelling unit. And a new fire-rated self-closing door leading to the basement. So based on the testimony provided today, the property owner respectfully requests relief from New York State MRL Section 30 for cellar ceilings. Are there any questions for me?
Thank you, Mr. Morelli. Just looking through the documents and the photos provided, some of the interior photos are black and white, difficult to read. Were those, just, can you explain what those are showing in those photos?
Yes. You have black and white copies. All mine are color copies.
Okay, so if you could just kind of walk through the interior photos. There's 6 photos that were provided.
Sure.
And what those are showing. It's just difficult to.
Yeah, I can certainly do that. So there's a photo. It may be the first interior photo that's showing the set of wooden stairs leading from the basement up to the upper level of the building where the non-fire rated door is.
Okay, these photos have a date, December 15th, in the bottom right corner. Is that on your photos, or is that part of the transaction of sending?
I think that was part of the transaction.
Okay.
Is there any way to post them so that I can see them and I'll be able to explain them better?
Not sure here. There were some that were included in the submission documents. Those are color photos, much easier to see. We have photos of the exterior. There's a whole bunch of smoke detectors, CO detectors shown, a few exterior photos. All that's very clear. It's just those interior photos came into us black and white.
Oh, okay. I can give you a general description that might help identify them. They're basically photographs of the basement ceiling with the MEPs in them. They're also photographs of the stairs leading from the basement up to the first floor level, including the door that's going to be swapped out. There's several photographs of smoke and carbon monoxide detectors on walls and ceilings. Those are kind of blurry for me too, unfortunately. There's another photograph of a hardwired carbon smoke combo unit in the basement, in the rafters, in the floor joists above. And then basically a series of photos of the existing entrance doors into the units. And I'm not sure if they're clear, but I think those doors are labeled. We have an apartment number 1. We have an apartment number 10 and apartment number 16, I believe. So that's pretty much what the interior photographs are all about. They're just showing doors, the self-closing doors leading into the units themselves, the stairs leading from the basement to the first floor, and the detectors on the walls and ceiling.
Hey,
Okay.
Andy,
Yep.
if you look at the 2 Fuller Road submission documents, it's 39 pages. Those
I
are
do
in
have
color.
that.
They're
Yeah,
in color.
I have those. I also had a separate file that was called 2 Fuller Street interior photos, and those were the ones
Yeah,
that. But I think with Dan's description, Mr. Morelli's description, I'm on the right track here. I do see a staircase. I believe it may be the one from the basement up to the first floor, where you can see a door at the top of the stairs.
Correct.
The stair appears to have open riser construction.
Correct. Yes.
Is this stair to remain? Is this going to be? Is this this is the only exit currently, correct, from the basement out?
That's correct.
Okay. Okay, questions from other board members?
Apologize if I missed it. That the basement door opens up into where?
It opens up to the main lobby. Basically, there's one entrance into the building, and it's along Fuller Street. If you look at the exterior photographs, it's the one with a canopy over it. And if you go into that entranceway, you can either go up the stairs to the upper units, or you can go around it and then down the stairs to the basement. And then all the apartments have access to exterior steel fire escapes as their second means of egress.
Thank you, Mr. Morelli. Any other questions from the board members?
I have none.
Okay, Ms. Swistak, do you have anything?
No, thank you.
Okay. Hearing none, I don't have any further questions. Or one other question, and I think this may have been indicated, but in the basement, in the cellar, there's no storage, there's no laundry.
Correct.
Correct. Okay. All right. With that, we'll go into a short recess for deliberation, and then we'll come back.
Okay.
Or we'll go off the record. We are back on the record. We are hearing the 5th hearing, petition number 2026-0008. This hearing is in the matter of VM Fuller LLC. Do I have a motion on the seeker?
I have a motion for the seeker for the Syracuse Regional Board of Review. Number 1, that the Board of Review find and determine that the issuance of a variance in petition number 2026-0008 will not have a significant adverse impact on the environment and will not have a significant adverse effect on any significant fish or wildlife habitat, scenic resources of statewide significance, important agricultural land, or area included in an approved local waterfront revitalization program. And number 2, that the Department of State be authorized to sign and deliver on behalf of the Syracuse Regional Board of Review and the Department of State, A, the State Environmental Quality Review Act Short Environmental Assessment Form, indicating that no or small impact may occur in response to each question in part 2 of the form, and determining in part 3 of the form that the proposed action will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts. B, the New York State Department of State Coastal Management Program Coastal Assessment Form. And C, the certification of no significant coastal impact. I so move.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a second. I'll poll the board. Ms. Swistak,
Aye.
Mr. Parsons,
Aye.
Mr. Beverly,
Aye.
chair votes aye, 4 ayes, no nays. The seeker is passed. Do I have a motion on the petition?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion in the matter of the petition of VM Fuller LLC for a variance to chapter 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York Multiple Residence Law, petition number 2026-0008. Upon the application of VM Fuller LLC and upon taking testimony and hearing argument thereon at a duly noticed hearing before the Syracuse Regional Board of Review, also held via video conference call WebEx at the following location: Hughes State Office Building, 333 East Washington Street, first floor, main hearing room, Syracuse, New York, 13202 on April 16, 2026. And upon all other papers in this matter, the board makes the following determination. Nature of grievance and relief sought. The petition pertains to an existing 16 dwelling unit apartment building, 3 stories in height, of type 3B ordinary unprotected construction, totaling 9,140 square feet, located at 2 Fuller Street, City of Schenectady, County of Schenectady, State of New York. Relief is requested from Chapter 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Section 30, cellar ceilings, which states that in every such dwelling, 3 stories or more in height, the ceiling of the cellar or of the lowest story, if there be no cellar, shall be fire retarded or be equipped with a sprinkler system, unless such ceiling has already been plastered to the satisfaction of the department. Findings of fact: Item 1, the building that is subject to the petition is an existing 16 dwelling unit apartment building constructed circa 1935 with 4 dwelling units on the first floor, 5 dwelling units on the second floor, and 7 dwelling units on the third floor. 2, the building that is subject of this petition is properly classified under Chapter 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York Multiple Residence Law, Article 1, Section 433 as a multiple dwelling. 3, the subject building is required to conform with the provisions of Article 3 of the Multiple Residence Law as provided in Section 25, in that it existed on July 1st, 1952, or was converted to a multiple dwelling after July 1st, 1952, and is not a hotel or similar dwelling subject to Article 4 of the Multiple Residence Law. 4, the petitioner states in the narrative that the building's interior walls and floors are finished with plaster or drywall, and that the dwelling units have self-closing doors from the common spaces and are code compliant with the Multiple Residence Law. 5, the petitioner states in the narrative that all common areas and dwelling units currently have hardwired interconnected UL-rated code compliant combination smoke and CO detectors. 6, the petitioner states in the narrative that there are hardwired emergency lights and illuminated exit signs at designated locations throughout the common areas of the building. 7, the petitioner states in the narrative that the full basement is unfinished, has no sprinkler system, and currently has multiple hardwired interconnected UL-rated code compliant combination smoke and CO detectors in designated locations. 8, the petitioner states in the narrative that the basement is accessed from the interior via a door from the common space. The present door is neither self-closing nor fire-rated. The owner is replacing the basement door with a fire-rated self-closing door that will be secured. 9, the petitioner states in the narrative that there is no laundry service or storage presently in the basement. 10, the property owner agrees to hire a third-party independent code certified inspection agency to test the alarm system annually at a minimum and shall submit inspection results to the City of Schenectady Building Department. Inspection reports shall also be left on-site and be readily available for inspection. 11, the petitioner states that installing fire-rated gypsum board or plastering the basement ceiling would prove to be physically impractical, as the existing plumbing pipes, heating piping, electrical wiring, and other mechanical equipment present present multiple impediments and would impose substantial difficulties with the installation. 12, the local code official has been consulted in this matter and supports the granting of variance under Part 1205. 13, the building shall otherwise comply with all other local and state building codes and local ordinances. The conclusion of law. Proposed variance will not substantially adversely affect the code's provisions of health, safety, and security. Strict compliance with the provisions of the Uniform Fire Prevention Building Code would entail practical difficulties, economic hardship, or would otherwise be unwarranted because such would create an excessive and unreasonable economic burden would be physically or legally impracticable and would be unnecessary in light of alternatives which, without a loss in the level of safety, achieve the intended objective of the code. Wherefore, it is determined that the application for a variance from Chapter 61B of the Consolidated Laws, New York State Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Section 30B, and is hereby granted with the following conditions: that all smoke detector devices shall be interconnected together as one system and in conformance with NFPA 72. 2, that the property owner shall hire a third-party independent code certified inspection agency to test the alarm system annually at a minimum and shall submit inspection results to the City of Schenectady Building Department. Inspection reports shall be left on site and be readily available for inspection. 3, that the door leading to the basement shall be fire rated self-closing. 4, the tenant's storage or laundry services or equipment shall not be allowed in the unfinished basement. The decision is limited to the specific building, application, and code section contained within the petition and should not be interpreted to give implied approval of the general plans or specifications presented in support of this application. This decision shall not be inferred to relieve the petitioner from or nullify any more restrictive federal, state, or local law, ordinance, administrative code, rule, or regulation relating to any matter. All conditions, enhancements, and equipment offered by the petitioner shall be installed as described and in accordance with the applicable codes and acceptance reference standards. I so move.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. I'll poll the board. Ms. Swistak,
Aye.
Mr. Parsons,
Aye.
Mr. Beverly.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, 4 ayes, no nays. The petition is granted.
Thank you, folks. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you. Okay, that officially concludes our hearing. We will go off the record.